Good morning, everyone. I am now officially starting, and I want to go through my list and just say welcome. Today is November 6, 2021. Wow, it's almost 2022. I'm Susan Koenig. Our theme today is going to be the vagus nerve, and particularly how to keep our vagus nerve healthy. We're going to have a section on breathing, and we're going to do some balance stuff. One balance move we're going to actually do on the floor, but then depending on the time, we may get to some standing, and I'll incorporate again some standing on one leg balance and some walking. So we'll get as far as we get. The props we'll need for today, we're going to start in a chair because I'm going to do slides, and we're also going to be doing some chair movement. That's going to be much easier for your posture to be aligned and comfortable if you're sitting in a chair rather than on the floor. At least in my opinion, when I see people doing movements from the floor, mostly I see a pretty unaligned spine. I'm going to suggest head support for behind the head and pillows for under the knees if you like that. And of course, your floor pad will be going onto the floor after the chair. I'm going to suggest shoes off. I don't care about your socks, so that your feet are freer, so that when we get to some combination full body movement, head, neck to feet, your feet can be more ready to move without encumbrances. Okay, so let's go to share screen, and I'm going to start with some slides. So this just gives you our theme for today. Somatic movement and anatomy series. That this year I've added more anatomy. I don't yet know what my 2022 theme will be. And like I said, we're going to be covering vagus nerve health, breathing, and balance. This is, I like this picture of the vagus nerve. I don't know how big your pictures are, but I like this one because in kind of an orangey color, it's showing some important nerve connections from some other cranial nerves that work with a part of the vagus nerve that is a very important part of the whole complex. I love this baby picture. Look at the balance this baby is learning to have. Balancing on opposite knee and hand, starting a contralateral movement. Look at the open face. She's obviously, she or he is very relaxed. Opposite arm and leg are lifted. I think we need to do this kind of balance work. And then this is a picture that I'm relating to breathing. We're going to do full torso breathing. Your torso includes your hips and your pelvic floor, comes up the front. It includes maybe a little above the clavicles. It includes your whole back. It really includes the whole body. Here's the respiratory diaphragm, and three-dimensionally all the way through you. So we're going to be doing some breathing. So I really want to recommend this book. I think it's a great book, Assessing the Healing Power of the Vagus Nerve by Stanley Rosenberg, with a short foreword by Stephen Porges, who is the most interesting researcher and put forth a whole new understanding of the vagus nerve and the autonomic nervous system. And we'll be hitting on some of that today. The vagus nerve is cranial nerve 10. Cranial nerves basically come out of the brain stem and then out from under the skull. And the vagus nerve is a very important part of your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system is the nervous system that is operating all our vital organs, our breathing, our blood circulation, our digestion, all of that. And we don't have to think about it at all. So it's an extremely important, very important part of our health, obviously. The autonomic nervous system, ANS, not only regulates our visceral organs, stomach, lungs, heart, liver, gut, etc., but is also tied to our emotional state, which directly influences our behavior. We often do not realize how much our emotional state influences our behavior. We'll talk a bit about that today. Stephen Porges researched and presented his polyvagal theory, that's about the vagus nerve, and gave us an understanding of two pathways or branches of the vagus nerve, cranial nerve 10. This understanding offers treatment options for a wide variety of health conditions and is crucial for healthy social engagement. We'll talk about social engagement. It is completely crucial to life and how we live life. And having a healthy autonomic nervous system, if you have headaches, if you have gut problems, if you have breathing problems, I mean, all of these different problems relating to our viscera, you want to boost your autonomic nervous system and you want to understand more about the vagus nerve. So hopefully today we'll do that. We'll get that started. In the old paradigm of the autonomic nervous system, we had two parts. We had the parasympathetic nervous system, PNS, associated with rest, repair, digest. And this is an illustration. I don't know how big your picture is, but it's just showing, bladder, liver, intestines, lungs, heart. This is tongue, saliva glands, part of your eye. And it's parasympathetic is when we're calmer, like when we're sleeping well, we repair, we digest. And the second part of the old paradigm is sympathetic nervous system. And sympathetic nervous system is associated with fight or flight. And it depends, and it's the sympathetic, both these systems are still happening, but there's been much more clarification because of Stephen Porges. And this is a representation of the spinal sympathetic chain associated with the sympathetic nervous system. It's a chain of ganglia. Ganglia are little areas of sensory and motor nerve bodies, and they're right outside the spinal cord, and they're mostly between, or maybe all between, thoracic 1 to thoracic 12. And so the position of your thorax is extremely important. Your cervical area, your somatic center sacral area, pelvic area is more related to extremities and movement. So it's all important. The spine is all important. And now we're going to come to the research of Stephen Porges and now how currently science is looking at the autonomic nervous system. It has 3 main branches and 2 hybrid branches. So the part we're going to really focus on today, ventral vagal branch, is part of cranial nerve 10, that's the vagus nerve. And along with the help of 4 other cranial nerves, cranial nerve 5, 7, 9, 10 is the vagus nerve, and 11 regulates both positive social engagement and the muscles of the heart, lungs, airways, throat, and face. Ventral vagal relates to social engagement and the positive emotions, joy, satisfaction, and love. Social engagement is a rather, it wasn't a very impactful term for me when I first heard it, but our life is about relationship to ourselves, to our family, to our friends, to our community, to people we work with, to people at our church, to people in other organizations. It's all about relationship, and relationship is all about social engagement, and social engagement is all about whether your ventral vagal branch is being engaged or not. And then we have the sympathetic spinal chain, thoracic 1 to thoracic, to L2, I was wrong. It's thoracic 1 all the way to lumbar 2. And if we perceive our survival is threatened, feel unsafe, angry, or in physical or emotional danger, we respond physiologically with sympathetic activity in the spinal chain. This still correlates with fight or flight, and it's back to this ganglionic chain, T1 to L2. Then there is a second branch of the vagus nerve. It's called the dorsal vagal branch. This is a relatively new discovery and is extremely important for health and health strategies. It's also a part of the cranial nerve, the vagus nerve 10, and it displays depressive behaviors and shutdown, including freeze. This happens with feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, manifesting in withdrawal and shutdown. It also goes to the heart and lungs, shutdown, heart and lungs, and also to stomach, spleen, liver, pancreas, so it can shut down our digestion, and the parts of our colon that are the ascending and transverse parts of the colon. Now, there are two hybrid states that are combinations of some of these three. First, hybrid is the branch or when we go into the experience of intimacy. And this is a combination of dorsal vagus, which is engaged to slow us down, and our physical activity, to slow down our physical activity, and our ventral vagus, which allows us a feeling of safety with another person so we can socially engage. So it's very interesting that intimacy, sexual activity is a combination of both dorsal and ventral vagus. And then we have another hybrid when we are, it's called friendly competition. And we may fight hard to win in sports or games. If this occurs within a framework of safety and rules agreed upon in advance, the sympathetic chain combines with ventral, with the ventral vagal circuit. And so we have the sympathetic nervous system, stress, fight or flight, combining with ventral vagal social engagement. So we got a lot of energy, we have a lot of movement, but we are also socially engaged. So these are very interesting and very different new ways of looking at the autonomic nervous system. So the neural pathways of social engagement, cranial nerves, in addition to the vagus nerve, cranial nerves 5, 7, 9, and 11, we'll talk about them, are very important. Our autonomic nervous system is constantly scanning both our external and internal environment. From moment to moment, we are very susceptible to our psychological state and can shift from happiness, satisfaction, being positive, to fear, anger, withdrawal. That is the shift from ventral vagal, this happiness, satisfaction, being positive, to dorsal vagal, depression, withdrawal, fear that immobilizes us, fear, anger, withdrawal. And we can then change to the sympathetic chain activation where we're really stressed out, that kind of anger, fear that causes us to fight or flee. And this is moment to moment. We can be really down and out. We get a phone call from a friend, says, I'm picking you up in 5 minutes. We're going to the movies. And boom, oh, we're so much happier. Or vice versa. We were looking forward to going to the movies. We're waiting for our friend. We get a call and friend says, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And it's like, boom, we just get depressed. We might even get angry. We need techniques that reset us into ventral vagal. And a lot of the theme today is resetting us, learning techniques and movements that reset us into ventral vagal. And so we are all, this is about social engagement, and we are always relating to people, and our whole body, not just our face, but the face is very important, the tone of our voice. We express our moods, not such a great mood in this picture. And here's, love and companionship. I'm assuming brothers, matching shirts, a little girl showing, joy, open, happy face, and even sunflower eyes. This young man is not so happy about what his mother is saying to him. That's what I'm assuming this is about. And you see it in the whole body posture. You see it in the face on both of them, her anger or dismay. And here's his like, oh, get away from me. I hate this. I can't stand this. And then maybe some flirting going on here. And you start to, your body posture changes, your mood changes, your facial expressions change. Relating in groups, being engaged, showing you are engaged by your facial expressions, by your body posture, or not engaged by your body postures and facial expressions. We're going to do a section on breathing. I see time is going on. I want to thank Mary Poxon for the phrase full torso breathing. This is your whole torso. It includes from above your clavicle, your pelvic floor and hips, all through your body. This is your respiratory diaphragm, all through your rib cage. It includes your shoulder joints, full body, full torso breathing, full trunk breathing, full body breathing is what we're going to emphasize. Now, here's the controversial part. I had to switch around these pictures with the magic of a computer. In most of the classes that I've ever had breathing exercises from, I was not taught this. In this is from Bonnie Bain. This idea is from Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, who I just think is a genius, and her ability to understand the body. When we inhale, our respiratory diaphragm goes down, our belly goes out. And in most classes and yoga classes I was taught, and the pelvic floor goes down. Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen says, absolutely not. The pelvic floor comes up. Both diaphragms, respiratory and pelvic floor, when you inhale, full inhale, and your belly gets big, and especially the front of your trunk gets big, it's pulling both diaphragms towards your somatic center into open, full belly. When you exhale, then the respiratory diaphragm and the pelvic diaphragm decontract. The elastic kinetic energy in them has them go back into their rest and relax diaphragmatic form. So this is very different than most people are taught, at least how I was taught. And I really encourage you to, as we breathe today, to check this out, and I will talk about it a little bit again. If we have time, we'll go back and do some balance work. The three-legged stool of balance, which we covered last time, proprioception, which is self-sensing, a lot in our joints, a lot in our feet. The vestibular system, the inner ear mechanism for maintaining and correcting uprightness. Head-neck position and balance is very important, and it's very important for ventral vagal. And the visual system from our eyes, the ability to navigate in the world visually, perceiving uprightness. So with that, I'm going to come out of sharing, and we're going to start some head and neck. Your head and neck are very important, the position of your head and neck, and of course, your head and neck, the position of your head and neck muscle spills over into your facial muscles, your eyes, your mouth, your jaw, your cheeks, into your shoulder girdle, into your chest, into your upper back. So we're going to start seated. So you want to sit comfortably. I'm going to adjust myself to be a little more forward in my chair. So my feet, I'm very short, so my feet can easily touch the floor. You want to focus on either the crown of the head or slightly behind the crown of the head. So you have a long neck, and your sits bones. So you're sitting on your sits bones. You're not curled forward. So you're behind your sits bones. You're not overarched. So you're coming in front of your sits bones. You want to really check your head and neck position. Your eyes are on the horizon, not looking up. If you are looking up, which is my habit, I'm speaking to myself here too, then you're going to strongly contract your suboccipital muscles and your neck muscles, which we're going to talk about shortly. And you want to go from this position to this position so your neck is comfortably long. You have to train yourself to do this because most of us are shortened in the front, our chest is narrowed, and it makes our head go forward, and it crunches the back of the neck, especially up high at the suboccipital muscles. So we need to learn when we're looking up like this. We need to start learning where horizon is. It's a new learning, and to feel a long neck coming up from, I like to come a little behind the crown now. And so you're just sitting comfortably. And so we'll start with a little bit of a test. There, in this work, somatic work, we move very comfortably. You're just going to be very comfortably. You're going to test your head rotation. It's a nice, easy test to see approximately what you're experiencing. Go ahead and do it a few times. You're going to gently turn your head to one side. Notice when you start getting stiff and tight. And you'll come back to the center, and then you'll turn in the opposite direction. When do you start getting tight? When do you maybe pain? You want to check out your journey without any forcing. You are not forcing. You're going as far as you can go in comfort. And we'll come back to this test. If I really follow my notes, we'll come back to it a few times to check, to use this rotational move of the head and neck to test the comfort of rotation. We're going to start with some head and neck movements. And as we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of them, but I just want to start with the ability to have a flexible body and but especially a very flexible head and neck, flexible shoulders, is when we are socially engaged. And yes, we're using our whole body, but we're using our face. We want to have a flexible, mobile face. We want to have eyes that are flexible and can open and shut and do everything else. A lot of that is going to depend on the comfort of our head and neck movements. And the biggest problem with head and neck is the forward head, And it narrows our chest, brings us into red light, if you know terminology from Hannah Somatic Education. And so we want to catch ourselves in red light. We want to come out of the forward head into a long neck, a comfortably broad shoulders, and we'll do some exercises and movements to help us with that. When we're in that red light, when we're pulled in and our head is forward, it's hard for us to breathe. We've dampened down our breathing. Oh no, I have a horn going off somewhere in the neighborhood. There it went off. And that's part of ventral vagal. If we cut off our breathing, if we're slouching in front of the computer, in front of the TV, whatever, we are cutting off our breathing and we're squishing our heart. So we're dampening ventral vagal, and we don't want to do that. In this red light, we're locked short in the front, and we're locked in a sort of kyphotic rounded hump in the back. And it constricts, this forward head constricts the jugular vein. It constricts the arterial artery, which comes in the cervical spine and is the blood supply to the brain. We don't want to cut that off. And it's really easy to do that. We want to reset our ventral vagal. And so we're going to start with some wonderful upper extremity shoulder girdle moves to stop that. And I have a format. I'm going to try to remember to follow my format. We're going to also allow our spine to gently move into a gentle arch where we gently lengthen. We're not going backward far, we're more going up. So there'll be a little bit of a backward arch on the inhale and a little bit of release coming down on the exhale. And we're going to start, you can start with so you can see more of me. You don't have to stand. You can do it sitting and standing. We're going to go from upper trapezius to its opposite, upper pecs, anterior trapezius, and narrowing of the shoulders. So you're going to, just sitting comfortably, roll your arms out, bring your shoulders up, bring your head gently back as you inhale, and as you exhale, release, round your shoulders in, bring them up and your head forward. We're intentionally going into the forward head, narrow chest, so that we The brain feels those muscles gently tightening, and we're going to slowly release out of that to our neutral. We'll do that one more time. Roll your arms out, bring your shoulders back and up, your head back, upper trapezius fibers. Slowly release, come round, narrow your chest, raise your shoulders again, head forward. This is one of the main forward head positions, and slowly release to neutral. Now, turn your head. You can turn it to either direction. I would go in your direction of ease first. Turn your head. You're going to leave your head turned, and we're going to do upper trapezius and its opposite in the front. So, and let your head bob up and down with the movements of the spine and the movements of the shoulder girdle. So turn your head in one direction. We're going back to upper trapezius and its opposite. Roll your arms out and up, tip your head back, keep your head turned. Slowly release, roll your arms and shoulders in, forward head, but you're rotated to whatever side you're rotated toward. Slowly release. One more time with the inhale, roll your arms out and up and come to center and bring your head back to center. Anytime you need to rest and bring your head back to center, you're welcome to do that. So we're kind of doing a sort of a set of three. The inhale, the exhale, and then the inhale again, just to open the chest a little more. Turn your head now to the other direction. Roll your arms out, shoulders up, tip your head back, upper trapezius, but your head is turned to that second side. Exhale, start to slowly release, roll your arms in, shoulders up, and your head is a little forward, but it's also turned. And slowly release. And last one. Inhale, roll your arms out, shoulders up, gently head. Everything is gentle, no pain, no force. Slowly release, bring your head back to center. And so that is the upper trapezius. Now we're going to go to the middle, the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid, which all these forward head and turning head and tilting head all involve the SCMs or sternocleidomastoid. The trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid, that balance helps to keep our head balanced so that we can easily turn. We can come back to center. We come out of chronic tilting, chronic rotations, and chronic forward head. And it is run by cranial nerve 11, the accessory nerve, and that is one of the nerves that works with ventral vagal for social engagement and the health of our heart and our lungs and some of our viscera. So for middle trapezius, I like to bend by elbows. We're going to focus on our shoulder blades coming toward each other. Inhale, gentle arch, shoulder blades gently come toward each other. Your head will probably go back a little bit. And then as you exhale, you let go and you come into hug. You let your head do what it wants. Mine wants to kind of go down a little bit. And then you slowly release. We'll do that one more time. And then we'll do the third part. You're going to, the 3-part one. You come back with your shoulder blades towards your spine, middle trapezius. Slowly release as you exhale. Come into the opposite move, the hug. And one more time, just to open the chest, come back into middle traps, rhomboids, shoulder blades toward each other, and release. And now we're going to go to the lower trapezius. The lower trapezius, let me go back to screen share for just a moment, because people don't know where their lower trapezius is. It's the one when I work with clients that most people have no idea about their lower trapezius. This is the lower part of the trapezius. The first move we did was about upper trapezius and the opposite coming into sternocleidomastoid in the front of the chest. And then the middle traps, rhomboids are in here. Now we're going to lower trapezius. The lower trapezius comes to the bottom of the rib cage, not your tailbone. You're going to try and find your the bottom of your rib cage, not way down here, because what you're going to do, actually, I want to start like this so my arms are a little bit externally rotated. You're going to bring your shoulders and shoulder blades to the bottom of your rib cage, not to your waist, not to your tailbone, lower trapezius. Let me get this out of the screen, lower trapezius. And then we're opposite pec minor. So we're going to turn our palms over and round our shoulders, bringing them forward. This pec minor, people don't even know they have a pec minor, but it's really important for releasing so you're not narrowing. We'll do that again. You're going to bring your shoulder blades to the bottom of your rib cage, lower trapezius. Slowly release, exhale. I like to turn my palms down a little bit more internally rotated, and your shoulders are coming forward. Shoulders are coming forward. It'll automatically narrow you, and we'll end again on lower trapezius. Shoulder girdle, shoulder blades, scapulas to the bottom of the rib cage, T12, thoracic 12, and release and relax. Those three parts of the trapezius and their opposites are very important to resetting ventral vagal and resetting cranial nerve 11, trapezius, sternocleidomastoid control. The sternocleidomastoid rotates and it side bends, and it does a combination of rotation and side bending and kind of an oblique move. And people have chronic head and neck tilts and rotations. It's the second most common neck problem, is to have a kind of chronic sort of tilt or rotation. If you start looking at people, you'll see many people are not in center. And I have to work with this myself. And we all probably have to work on it to some degree. Okay. Let me just look at my notes. I just want to re-emphasize, when we are in these various positions, let's say I'm going to exaggerate, let's say we're chronically turned and tilted. Well, the pull of our neck muscles is going to pull on our rib cage and on our spine, and it's going to skew the muscle balance in our rib cage and in our spine and pull them out of alignment, and then we're not going to be able to find good full body alignment. So reorganizing your head and neck and your shoulder girdle, your chest and your upper back is extremely important for our general health, for full breathing, for ventral vagal, for social engagement. Okay. Let's now go to, I want to go to the suboccipital muscles. And for this, we're actually going to use our hands. So let me go back into screen share. I think I put them on one of my slides that you may not have seen yet. Okay, here it is. Okay, so here's the back of your skull. This is C2, this is C1, cervical 1, cervical 2. When you reach back to the top of your neck, right in that indentation, the first vertebrae spinous process that you can feel is actually C2. C1 is too embedded in muscles. This is a very short distance. It's from the ridge of your skull bone and just down to C2. In that small area, you can, I'll come out of screen share. In that small area, Isaiah, can they see the back of my head? Right in here? Okay, so right in here, you'll feel the occipital ridge, where there's a kind of ridge, the top of the neck to the occiput bone, right in here. You can take your fingers and you can massage it a little bit. You're only massaging, an inch, possibly an inch and a half if you're really tall. up into a little above the skull bone, coming down a little lower than the top of the neck. And put your fingers right at the base of the skull and tip your head back and feel how contracted it gets back there. Now, if this is your chronic head position, you are cutting off blood supply to your brain chronically. You're alive, so you're getting some, but it's cut off. So we're going to actually pendiculate this. If you're not comfortable with your arms or only comfortable with one arm, you can rest your arms, then just do it with one arm or no arms, just do the movement itself. But I'm going to stick my fingers right at the ridge, maybe a speck under it. And then what you want to do is gently tip your head back into your fingers. You're giving yourself just a little resistance. And then as you slowly release, your fingers are coaxing your head to go long, to go up, not forward. We'll do it again, and then you're releasing slowly. Let's do it again. Fingers in place, tip your head back, give yourself some resistance. These are suboccipital muscles. Slowly release your head back to a long neck and let your fingers kind of coax your head up and relax. And now let's just do our test again for turning our head. So you're going to turn your head in one direction just to comfort, no forcing. You're going to turn your head in the other direction, no force. If you need to do it a second time, coming back to center. If you need to do it a second time, no problem. Go ahead and do it. I know I feel I gained ease and more comfort. I gained a little bit in the journey. I gained actually quite a bit in the journey, but I gained a lot in ease and comfort of turning my head. Very important for ventral vagal. Anybody can do this. Okay, so now it's time to go to the floor. So you want to get your floor mat ready. Please get some pillow support for the back of your head. I'll give you just a little time to do that. I'm finally getting a little bit warm. It's chilly here today in Berkeley. And you're going to make yourself comfortable. Be sure you have some head support. Some people will, and then come onto the floor on your back. And you can start with your legs in any position, bent or straight or pillow under your knees. And you're taking a little time to make yourself comfortable. And as you're comfortable, you want to relax your face and jaw. You want to just start some natural, easy breathing. And you want to feel, I like to point out some points. It helps us to even further let go of muscles, further undo contracted muscles, and just start coming into a calmer place in our body, allowing our muscles to undo, to lengthen between their bones. So you want to feel the back of your head, feel the support or the pressure of the back of your head against the pillow or chair or books or whatever you have under your head. This is going to help you to allow your neck to lengthen. You want to bring your awareness to your upper back. By the way, you can have your eyes open or closed. It's very interesting if you're only used to using your eyes closed to go internally. It's really a nice skill to have, to be able to have your eyes open and gazing around the room softly and have your internal focus, because that helps you to learn in your daily life. When your eyes are open and you're interacting, you're walking, you're working at the computer, you can learn to, with eyes open, and even as you're doing activities, you can also learn to pay attention to your internal environment. Focus on your upper back, then come down the rest of your back as you relax. The rest of your back fills out. Feel the back of your pelvis, sacrum pelvis. And notice your arms and legs. You can always change position for more comfort. Your arms may be bent with your hands on your midriff. Your arms may be down at your sides. You can notice the position of your hands. Notice the position of your fingers, forearms, elbows, upper arms, and shoulders. Notice the parts that are pressing or against the floor for support. And then notice your legs, whatever position they're in, and your feet. If you're lying with your legs straighter, you're more in the heel area, somewhere in the heel area. If your knees are bent, you're feeling the flat of your foot. Maybe you can feel your toe pads. And remember from last class as well, your bottom side, because you're lying down, is where gravity is, your weighted side. That's where gravity, where you're experiencing gravity the most, is where you experience weight the most. On your skyward side, your ceilingward side, you're in the more expansive part of you. So expansion to condensing, where you're feeling weight and gravity. And now go ahead and lengthen both legs. You can keep a bolster under your knees if you want, but you're going to lengthen both legs. And this is nice to do with no shoes on. And we're going to combine a very gentle arch and flatten with dorsi and plantar flexion, extension and flexion at the ankles. So I'll go ahead and guide it. As you inhale, you're going to gently roll your tailbone a little bit toward the floor with your legs long. It's a much smaller arch. And you're going to point your feet and toes. And as you exhale, you're slowly going to come out of that dorsiflex, bringing your feet towards your kneecap and your toes towards your kneecap, and come to rest. And you're going to repeat. Inhale, a gentle arch, where the lower back lifts a little or lightens, rolling towards your tailbone a little bit, point your feet and toes. That's called plantar flexion. And then as you exhale, you're going to release out of plantar flexion, move into a flatten, an exhale, a flatten, and dorsiflexion. That's where your feet come towards your kneecap and your toes as well. And go ahead and do that one more time, full body integrating, head, neck, spine, the whole front part of your body, full body torso breathing in this position with your feet, head to toe. Very good integrative move. And rest. And now you're going to leave your working leg. You get to choose which leg. You're going to leave your working leg long, but you're going to bend your other leg. So that'll give you a little bit more support in your lower back, make it a little bit more comfortable for your lower back. So you're going to, again, we're going to work with head rotation in basically doing the same move we just did with our feet. So you're going to allow your head and neck to bob with your arch and flattens a little bit, and just follow the directions. Gently turn your head. You can go to the side of ease first if you'd like. Very comfortably leave your head to that side. And as you inhale and gently arch, point the foot and toes of the long leg. And as you exhale, leave your face to whatever direction you went to. You're going to dorsiflex, bring your foot and toes towards your kneecap. And come to rest. You can bring your head back to center. You can rest your foot. And we'll do that one more time. So we're doing this now with head neck rotation. Turn your head to the same side. And once again, inhale, arch. Feel that all the way through your head and neck. Whatever your head and neck wants to do to respond to the arch, point your foot and toes of the long working leg. And exhale, slowly come out of the arch and the plantar flexion into flatten and dorsiflexion. Let your head and neck respond. They will move if you let them. And then slowly release and relax. Bring your head back to center. Give yourself just a few seconds to feel the effects of that move. Be sure you relax your foot. Some of us have a lot of chronic foot stuff going on or in relationship to a chronic knee or hip problem, and we forget to relax our feet. Change your leg position. Let's repeat to the other side. This time, you're going to turn your head. Oops, you know what? I don't know if I gave the correct direction. You're going to turn your head in the direction of your long leg. If I didn't give that full direction, just go with it now. Whichever leg is long, that's the way you're going to turn your head. And remember, as you go through your arch and flatten, it's full body up into the head and neck as well. You're letting your head and neck respond in some kind of bobbing or nodding. There's not a right way to do it. You're just allowing that movement. Inhale, turn your face to the direction of your long leg. And leave your face to that rotated, turn to that side, and inhale. Gently arch and plantar flex. Point that foot and toes of the long leg. And exhale, slowly come out of that into flatten, into dorsiflexion of the foot. Let your head and neck respond with movement, even if it's very small and gentle. And come back out of that slowly to rest with your face in the center, re-finding the center. And once again, turn your face in the same direction as your long leg, and we'll repeat. Inhale, arch, let your head and neck respond. Point the foot and toes of the long leg. As you exhale, you release. You keep your face turned, but you release out of the arch into the flatten and into dorsiflexion. You slowly release out of that. You bring your face back to center as best you can. Just give yourself a few seconds in this position. And now rest in any position that's comfortable. Working with head rotation, working with the suboccipital muscles. When we work with head rotation, we're working with a little bit of cervical too, but we're also working with the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid, cranial nerve 11, even though we're also working with other muscles and other nerves. And we are working with our feet. So we're going all the way through our whole body so that the brain has an opportunity to organize through the head and neck all the way to the feet. This also starts to help you to organize your eye movement and your facial muscles. Okay, and now we are going to do, bend your knees. And we are going to do an exercise from the vagus, some of these were from the book on accessing the health power of the vagus nerve, the book I recommended. Now we're going to do another exercise. He calls this the basic exercise number 1. And this you can do as much as you want, several times a day, at least once a day, to reset ventral vagal. You're going to interlace your fingers and put them behind your head. If your shoulder girdle is not comfortable with your hands behind your head, you can use one arm. And if that's not comfortable for your shoulders, then you just pay attention to feeling the back of your head on your support. But if your hands are behind your head, you're on the rounded part of your head. My thumbs linger a little bit below the occipital ridge, and the rest of my fingers are on the rounded part of the back of my head. And you really want to take a few seconds to feel the back of your head in your hands, to feel that contact, because that light contact into the occipital and some of the other bones of the cranium are already stimulating cranial nerves. Now, this resets ventral vagal. You're going to keep your face straight ahead. Open your eyes. Keep your face straight ahead. You are not moving your face. You are going to move your eyes, both your eyes, to the right comfortably. Only take them to the right as far as they are comfortable and leave them there. Do not strain. And you're going to leave them there for a little bit of time. You can go ahead and breathe, but what you're looking for is what he calls a release or a sign of the resetting of the autonomic nervous system, ventral vagal. And a release comes in the form, it could be a yawn, it could be a sigh, it could be a deeper breath, it could be a swallow. And if you don't have any of that, that's okay. And now gently bring your eyes back to center. Sometimes, when I first was doing this, it took me a little bit of time practicing it a few times before I clearly got these signs. We're going to take our eyes to the other side and then we will repeat it. You do not want to strain your eyes. You're going to take your eyes comfortably now to the left. Your face stays in the center. That's tricky for a lot of us. Eyes to the left very comfortably. You're going to keep your eyes to the left. And you're going to relax your face and jaw. You're going to relax your breathing. You're keeping your eyes to the left. And you're looking for a sign of reset, which is a yawn, a sigh, a swallow, or a larger breath. And it can take, most people will start to do it within 30 seconds. Some people, he has to take a full minute. I just now wait for the sign. I often yawn and I allow the full yawn, or I take a bigger breath. And then you bring your eyes back to center. There's no rushing and there's no particular timeline. If you did not get a sense of release yet, or you only got it to one side, this is the exercise you want to repeat and learn and give it the time your body, your soma needs. Let's do that one more time. If you need to relax your elbows or do something so you're comfortable, you certainly can do that. Okay, face in the center. Your face is not going to move. You're going to comfortably bring your eyes to the right, leave them to the right. Relax your face and jaw, relax your breathing. Make sure you're not overextending, hyperextending your neck. Maybe you have to create a longer neck. And you're looking for a sense of autonomic vagal release in terms of a yawn, a sigh, a swallow, a deeper breath. And you just hang out until you have that. You complete the breath or the yawn. You bring your eyes back to center. You give yourself a moment. And some of you may be in a different place than I am. And now we're going to center our face. Make sure your neck has not gone back into hyperextension. Make sure your back of your neck stays long. And now you're going to turn your eyes to the left comfortably. No eye strain. Leave them there. Relax your face and jaw. Make sure your neck stayed long. Breathe, and you're looking for a sign of reset. It is a yawn, a sigh, a swallow, or a deeper breath. And you just hang out until you're complete, or until you think it's just not going to happen this particular round. You bring your eyes back to center as you're ready. And you let your arms come down and relax. And I'll give you a little more time. And now it's a really nice thing to do the test again, the rotation, and you're not trying in any way, shape, or form. You're just seeing the results. Because when you reset ventral, vagal, and autonomic nervous system, you often get more ease in the head and neck and in your range of motion. But whatever's true for you is true for you, no forcing. So once again, you're going to rotate to each side. You can do it lying down or sitting up. Since we're lying down, you get a sense of if there's more ease in the movement, if there's less strain, if you come into a stressful turning less quickly. You don't want to go into stress, but you kind of hit that point sometimes, or pain. And you're just testing your range of motion, to each side, your rotation to each side. This resets ventral vagal. This is one of the exercises. Well, all of these exercises we've done so far are great. But in the book, he calls this number one. He puts all the trapezius and sternocleidomastoid after this, but I did it in my order because I wanted us to lie down and get some after the chair work. Okay, so now we want to go into some breathing. So you want to make yourself comfortable. You can keep your knees bent. I'm going to suggest, if you like your knees straight, you put some support under them so you have a little bit of support under your knees. I either say knees bent or some support under your knees so that it helps to relax your back and spine, especially your low back, a little bit. And I would keep support under your head. If it's become too high, maybe you can make it a little lower. I know in my body, I will often start with a little bit more support behind my head at the beginning. And then as it goes on, I still keep some support, but I put a little bit less. You just have to feel that out in your own self. And now we're going to go into that full torso breathing. No forcing. You are looking for a natural response in your body to your breath. And I love Mary Poxon's term of full torso breathing. And just start to breathe very comfortably. There's so many good things about breathing. I'm going to go through some of them. You want to do nostril. You want to do nostril breathing. The healthiest breathing overall is nostril breathing. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of breathing exercises that can be very good for all different kinds of reasons. But normal, natural breathing is mouth is gently closed. You're breathing through your nose. You can even flare your nostrils a little bit and then let them relax. Sometimes that opens up your airways and your sinuses. You are slowing your breathing down. You want to keep a natural breath. Let your breath breathe you. You want to slow your breathing down and you want to lengthen your exhales. There's no hard and fast rule. You're just breathing more gently. You do not want to take great big gulps of air that actually does not oxygenate you more. It oxygenates you less. Breathing is about a number of things. It's about the balance between O2 and CO2. And forced breathing creates an oxygen overload to the detriment of CO2 and actually dampens your breathing down and does not reset your ventral vagal. So natural breathing, nostril breathing at your own pace, slowing your breathing down, maybe making it a little gentler, taking a little bit longer with the exhales. And your breathing, you may have little sputters here and there and need to take a bigger breath now and then. It's fine. You're just allowing yourself a little time, which we don't normally do, to focus on some breathing. Many of us have chronic breathing problems. Many of us breathe in fast, short breaths, often very high in our chest. That really upsets the balance between O2 and CO2, and puts you more into a dorsal vagal situation, which really can depress your system. We can become unhappy. Our mood can we wonder why are we in such a bad mood? We're stressed out. We've got some spinal activation going on. And so gentle breathing, full torso breathing, your respiratory diaphragm on the inhale goes down as your belly goes out. Your pelvic floor diaphragm comes up as you inhale and your belly goes out. And then as you exhale, both diaphragms naturally respond with their kinetic elastic property to go back into place. Another thing about nasal breathing has to do with nitric oxide, and this was new to me, but this is also part of breathing balance. We want to increase nitric oxide, and the way that happens is with normal nostril breathing. Nitric oxide is produced in our sinuses with nose breathing, and nose breathing causes nitric oxide to be excreted continuously into our nasal passageways and nasal airways, and it is a powerful immune response. So those of us that breathe with our mouth open, we want to start learning to breathe comfortably in increments with our mouth closed. It'll increase our nitric oxide. It'll increase our immune response. Another aspect of comfortable breathing, and something you can do, is the ah whisper, A-H, ah whisper. There's different varieties of this. In this breathing, you are going to breathe through your nose, but you're going to slightly part your lips and even slightly go into a bit of a smile. If you can actually think of something beautiful or funny that actually makes you go into a little bit of a real smile, it's even a little better. And then you'll inhale through your nose, and as you exhale, you kind of come from the back of your throat and you say ah, and it's inhale, and then I think you can hear me. And you just do it naturally. And that helps you to extend your exhales. So you're inhaling easily and naturally. Your lips are a little parted so that you can exhale with an ah, with a. And anytime you want to extend your exhales, it's a very comforting way of extending your exhales. The most important part of the nostril breathing is on the inhale. In general, our mouth will be closed for both inhaling and exhaling, but sometimes our mouth is open for certain activities like this whispered breath, which is actually excellent for breathing and excellent for extending the length of your exhales. It's excellent for resetting ventral, vagal, and social engagement. And you might even feel at times you want to yaw, sigh, swallow, or take larger breaths. That's all a sign of resetting ventral vagal. And with your next exhale, you're going to bring that to a close. And I'm always shocked at how much time goes by. We are going to turn onto one of your sides, and you want support under your head. You do not want your head drooping down towards the floor. You want to keep the spine in your neck long. So you don't want to have a forward head. You might even have a little bit of a rounded head neck in the side position, but you want your spine to be in line with the rest of your spine. So you need support for under your head. Comfortably bend your legs. You can comfortably bend your legs. You don't have to take any extreme position. And we are going to do one balance exercise from our side. And I really like this one. Drape your top arm long along your body. So whatever side is up towards the ceiling, your arm is draped long. And now you are going to the best of your ability, you're going to lengthen both your legs straight down. If you need to use your top arm to put in front of you to balance at first, that's fine. Your bottom arm is probably sticking out in front of you. And you're going into a straight side lateral line position. It's very good for balance to do this. And you want to relax your face and jaw. You don't want to hyperextend the neck. You want a long neck. You can even wiggle your feet. You can dorsi and plantar flex your feet a little bit, and then make sure your feet go into a position of relaxation. Sometimes I catch myself holding my feet in either a dorsi or plantar. Usually for me, it's a plantar flexion. Learn to let them go. And then take a moment to feel your lateral line. You have a lateral line from the crown of your head going towards your skyward side. It'll come around the side of your skull, through your ear, down the side of your neck, down through your shoulder, and arm that's up towards the sky, down along the side of your ribs. Spend a little time feeling that lateral line along your ribs. The side of your ribs from your armpit all the way down through your somatic center, through the side of your pelvis, down the side of your top thigh, knee, foreleg, ankle, and lateral foot. You also have a gravity side line. Gravity is where your weighted side is. It's from the crown of your head. And now you're on the floorward side of your body, down your skull, through your ear, through your shoulder, the side of the ribs on the floor, somatic center, side of the pelvis. When you get to the top of your thigh, you may feel your greater trochanter, that big bony part that sticks out down the side of your thigh, knee, foreleg, and foot. And then just briefly turn over onto your back. Take a moment. And now turn on to your other side. You can start with your knees bent and get your head comfortable, get your arm lengthened along your side, and then begin to straighten both legs. Sometimes one side is easier for us to balance on than the other side. You can always catch yourself if you start to fall, but you want to see if you can balance on your side, wiggle your feet, and then make sure your feet are relaxed. Maybe you hold tension in your legs or your pelvis. You want to relax that. You want to relax your face and jaw. You want your neck to be long, the back of your neck to be long. You don't want to hyperextend. And this time, think about your lateral line three-dimensionally through you. To the front of the lateral line, you have the front of your body. To the back of your lateral line, you have the back of your body. So notice you have the front of your body, you have the back of your body, and you have your lateral body in between three-dimensionally, not just on your outside, but all the way through you, through your skull, through your neck, through your shoulder girdle and rib cage, through your somatic center, through your pelvis, through both thighs, knees, forelegs, feet, through both arms, and turn on to your back. And rest just a moment in a position of comfort. And we are going to end our session today with Cat 4, the diagonal arch and curl. If you know it, you can go ahead and move into it, but I'm going to explain the directions for those that don't or who might be a little fuzzy with the directions. So you're going to bend your knees. You're going to bring one hand behind your head. Get ready to notice whichever arm is bent, you're going to be using your opposite bent leg when it comes to the curl. So if your right hand is behind your head, your left bent leg is the one that is going to be used. So you're going to inhale and arch, rolling towards your tailbone, your low back lifts a little bit, your head goes long. Exhale, let go of the arch. And now you're going to curl. You're going to contract your abdominal muscles. Your hand helps lift your head, and your elbow, your bent elbow and the opposite bent knee are going to come toward each other. So you're going to lift your opposite bent leg, and just gently, you're not trying to touch at all. You're just getting a sense of diagonality, and you slowly come down. Your head slowly comes down, the back of your back, your elbow, your foot, your bent leg, and you're going to repeat that. So you're doing a diagonal arch, inhale, arch, and then let go of the diagonal arch and come into a gentle diagonal curl, opposite elbow and knee toward each other. Come down slowly. The most important part of any pendicular move, this is a pendiculation, is the slow release. And you'll do that one more time. We'll do 3 sets to each side. So do it one more time, or even up wherever you are. Some people really move slowly, which is great. Some people move a little faster. I tend to be a little faster. But you want to pay attention. The important part is to pay attention to what you're doing. And then when you have completed the one you're on, you're going to switch to the other side if you haven't already. And so the other arm will come behind your head. You'll inhale and arch. You'll exhale, diagonally curl. You contract your belly to lift your head. Your hand helps lift your head. Opposite elbow and bent knee come toward each other very gently. And you slowly come out of that. The most important part is the slow release to rest. And you're going to repeat 2 more times. We call this Cat 4 in the Hanna Somatic system because Thomas Hanna created a basic 11 movements or exercises, and this is number 4. And it's also the one we like to end with, no matter how many other movements we've done, even if we've put Cat 4 somewhere in our routine. We also often like to end with it. It's just a wonderful spinal move exercise in a contralateral pattern. When you no rushing, when you have completed your 3 Cat 4s, rest comfortably on the floor. My computer says it is 11:16. We've gone 1 minute after. I always stay after class and take comments or clarifications, but those of you that can stay another 1 to 2 minutes, I think it's wonderful at the end of a session to very slowly roll on your side, take your time, and then take your time and come up to standing. And just stand for a moment and feel your full vertical height, You're feeling your feet. You're feeling the length of your spine, including the back of your neck. Come out of that scrunched neck, eyes on the horizon, long neck, and then take a little walk. I call it the la-di-da walk. You're just walking in comfort. You're letting your arms swing. Hopefully you're in a contralateral pattern, but you're just seeing where you're just getting a sense of flow in your body, ease in your body. You're hopefully breathing fully. You can look around. Your eyes can look around. Your head and neck can look around. You can notice things. Look at different things in your rooms. You can look for colors. You can have your head go in different positions, and your body just has a natural flow to it. And as you have, after you've taken a little walk, you are welcome to just say goodbye, sign off, and you can end the meeting yourself for you, or you can come back. We'll do and those that would like to stay a little bit, and we'll talk, and you can come back in your chair on the floor, whichever you're more comfortable in. And this is now officially ending our class today. Thank you very much.